And I'm pretty sure we're live as the start of every single YouTube stream ends up going. I'm going to fire off the Twitch stream and see if that breaks everything. I'm having some bandwidth issues today. My internet connection's being a little funky. This is a pretty scuffed setup. We're going to make it work. Must be on the WAN show timeline. You're not wrong. You're maybe not wrong. Oh. Like I said, this is a pretty scuffed setup. We've got GoXLR back, so I can cover it on Mac and Linux. I hate it as much as I wound up hating it by the time I was done with it before. I feel like my chat widget is not updating as quickly as everyone else's. It's a little weird, but that's okay. Hello, welcome back to Streamer News from the newly mostly revamped and ready to go Retro Gaming Corner. I'm still working on finishing up the rest of the studio, but things are coming back, including live streams. Crank that backing track music, no doubt. Backingtrack.gg for royalty-free rock and metal and a little bit of chill wave, chill rock going on here for your streams and for your videos. Speaking of which, before we get into the title topic today, I do have some big news relating to backing track that I just wanted to share. Cujo, if you could like ping people on Discord that I'm finally live, that would be great. But either way, apparently the page did not load its CSS, so I'm gonna let it take a second to reload here before I show you. Did you transport back to the retro room from the apartment? I have done my best to try to recreate the vibes we had going there. All right, so as you know, or as you, I guess, hopefully know at this point, we have backing track, our stream safe, video safe, podcast safe, rock and metal music, and through your all's amazing support, especially on social media, the producer of our backing track music, Will Isorb, my community manager, had a wonderful opportunity to partner with Evo for Evo 2023 last weekend to release the song Open the Pit for the Mortal Kombat 11 montages and things like that. And the song is absolutely S tier, but the entire album is like full of bangers. Like, it is a wonderful album from lots of like high quality artists making sick tracks for this year. And you can pick up a physical version over on crates.com. I will go ahead and post a link to it in the various chats here. I'll have it in YouTube chat, and someone else can translate it over to Twitch, I guess. Although Edge is stupid and doesn't copy links the right way, so give me... I just paste as the... Edge, you're killing me. So Edge does this thing. I've been using Edge for a while, just as an experiment. And Edge does this thing where when it pastes links in websites that support it, or like documents or whatever that support it, it pastes it as like a smart link. So it has the title of the page hyperlinked to the website, which is really kind of obnoxious. Like, I actually kind of hate it because certain things like chat, for example, doesn't really accept it correctly. So I have to do some workarounds to get links working. It's the same thing, like Notion does the same thing. If I try to copy links straight out of Notion, it does this weird markdown formatting that it's not supposed to copy over. And it just seems like no one's interested in fixing it. But anyway, to the point, you can pick up the epic entire album of Evo 2023 music called Impact, full of a bunch of awesome tracks on a physical vinyl release, which is amazing. Otherwise, you got to go to backingtrack.gg and you can check out the Open the Pit track if you want to check out the track we specifically launched for Evo. I'm going to play it super loud here. Oh, and it's on Spotify, which I'm not going to be signed into, but it's a freaking killer track. So go check that out. And aren't you saying in Discord that Edge is actually great now? Yes. Imagine saying something is great while also having a criticism of it. Unheard of. Let's get into the title topic today, because I have something I need to rant about that is kind of, I guess breaking news makes it sound a little dramatic, but you know, developing news over the past couple days here. It was first announced yesterday afternoon, and it was originally taken to be a good thing. And now I'm not feeling it as we get more information here. And that is the fact that you can now link to your long form videos in YouTube Shorts, which is a hugely awesome thing. Using the, with the lead buried here, the ability to link directly to your long form videos from your shorts or to your podcasts, to your live VODs, whatever, and be able to just natively transition people over is something we have been asking for forever. And YouTube has the power to have this kind of integrated linking between content in a way that no one else does. So between the shorts remixing, turning clips into shorts, and now linking shorts through to your longer form content, this is huge. This is awesome. I'm a huge fan of this, and this will hopefully help a lot of us that are trying to take advantage of the new shorts algorithms and make shorts to get more views on their content. It will help us translate those views over to our long form, content. It's how it should have always been, but obviously this took some development to make the feature, so that's fine. Like, I'm stoked with that. And they specifically, what I love here and what is going to tick a lot of people off that I don't mind is that they specifically state, I don't know if it's in this one, in one of the tweets, these aren't the tweets I was thinking of, but in one of the tweets they specify you are only linking to the channel that the short is uploaded to, which means everyone who jumped the gun and did shorts specific channels, even though within a couple months that was no longer necessary and doing shorts on your main channel is kind of the meta now. Everyone who leapt to do separate shorts channels cannot do this. So that's unfortunate, and a lot of people are going to be pretty mad about that, and I get it. It's fine. But the lead that got buried here, the thing that I am not liking from this announcement, is that you can no longer link anything else in your shorts, in the descriptions or the comments. You can no longer use links at all. Like, not even just YouTube links. Like, you have to you can do the video short to long linking, which is an amazing feature, but now you can no longer link to other videos at all if they're like other channels or something, and you can't link to external content. So your websites, your Twitch streams, your TikToks, your sponsors, you can't link to any of that. Now, they specified down here that it does not apply to long form content, live stream VODs, whatever, just the short feed. That means that anyone trying to monetize shorts in a way that is utilizing sponsors, utilizing external sources, referencing material, wanting to maybe just get a little promotion of their outside media, of their other profiles, are now completely locked in on shorts. Sorry, I hit the microphone stand. They're completely locked in on shorts and unable to do this. And we're now being given the justification that that's how it's handled on Instagram Reels and TikToks, so it should be fine, smile. Except it's not fine. Those platforms are notoriously terrible for creator monetization, as anyone who uses TikTok regularly as a creator will tell you. Instagram Reels is a joke. Instagram never lets you link outside of your profile, so that's always been terrible. And for expanding the things you can reference outside of your video, it is really, really bad. And YouTube has always been the platform that's been better for these things, for creator control and ownership, for being able to monetize and sustain yourself. YouTube has always been the better one for this. And now they're justifying it because the other sites are crappy, that they can get away with it and it's totally fine, even though it's not fine on those platforms. The things that this limits you with here comes down to, realistically, if you had an ongoing sponsorship contract where you had to link your sponsor for like a tracking link or whatever, you basically just have to void the contract. Now they might, you're going to have to reach out to people and you might be able to talk them into still doing it with just references, but you're going to end up in one or two scenarios. One, people are not going to be able to really monetize anywhere near as much on YouTube with sponsors and whatever as they could before. And that's going to seriously hurt the creator economy, as it always does, because that stuff is just garbage on TikTok. Like, no one can do it well on TikTok because of those issues. Or we're going to see a massive shift to the link in bio nonsense that is always done on TikTok and Instagram, which is actually harder to combat spam. So the whole reason they're doing this, to circle back around, is they're worried about spam and scams. And YouTube has a recurring cycle of this being a problem as they get an influx of a new generation of creators. The big one of note was when things finally reached kind of a climax point in 2015 and 2016 for the first round of adpocalypses. I worked for an MCN, a YouTube network that like helped partner channels and manage channels and stuff. I worked for one of those back in 2015 and 2016. And the biggest challenge facing everyone at the time was that YouTube was so flooded with spam, scam, and malicious content. And a lot of the other MCNs were partnering these channels and getting in trouble for it. And we had to go through and like filter all this out because no one was putting their foot down on it. And eventually that turned into the whole adpocalypse where YouTube had to have a crackdown on it. That was a really bad time for YouTube. There was a lot of good content on YouTube, but the platform itself was just covered in terrible content as a result of this. I think we're seeing a similar wave with the influx of YouTube Shorts because it's so much more accessible. They're now having trouble actually moderating, filtering, curating any of that content. It's just turning into, and frankly, the number of clips I get in my shorts that aren't relevant to anything I would watch at all and are just like really kind of creepy stuff or just weird ass videos makes me think that they have very little capacity to really moderate and filter the shorts scene, which means that instead of adapting better systems, better reporting, filtering links themselves on these shorts, they are just giving up fighting spam and just deciding, well, some of y'all are linking spam in your shorts comments and we can't figure out how to beat it, so we're just getting rid of links entirely. Imagine if YouTube did that across the whole platform. I know they are saying that they have no plans to, and I'm not even saying that they would change their mind on that. But just think about like if they did that for videos. Like this is the decision the company is making. That is kind of ridiculous to me. And it's not like they buried that in kind of the trade-off of you're getting to link your bigger videos now, guys. But getting rid of those links just really breaks a lot. Specifically in the comments, and I love that they say in shorts, comments, and descriptions because that's where we see the most harmful links being shared. Well, that's the only place you can really share links on YouTube is in the comments and descriptions. But also shorts descriptions aren't even really clickable. Like I've experimented with this, and when you're watching shorts on YouTube, like I'll pull up one right now. This change has not gone into effect yet. Like most shorts descriptions are truncated to just like a couple words and a couple hashtags. If you actually put a long description in there, it's not shown in the first place. That's what I'm not getting here. Here, I'm going to pull up my own channel and go to shorts. And I always do, you know, well thought out descriptions with links and everything else. Every single short. Here, we'll switch to, actually that's worse. Every single short is just one line. One line. One line. Every single one of these descriptions is a full description with links, with extra information, with explanations, and all of the shorts descriptions are limited to one line. So please tell me where these spam scam links are being a problem in these descriptions, because I'm not seeing it. Because for at least months, this may not have been the case when shorts first kind of released. I'm realizing I don't have my alerts added to the scene. Thank you for the Prime sub, Baz4K. I need to add my alerts to the scene. Shouts out for identifying the flaw in my setup here. Thank you for the Prime sub. Filtering area. Doing this on the fly. Like I said, this is a very scuffed setup. We are getting streams coming back, and we are getting a whole lot of new stuff set up here. OBS is really having a bad time. There we go. Someone asked if I am streaming from the Mac Studio for this setup. For this setup, I am streaming with a dedicated capture streaming rig I have in the game corner here. People just have a pinned comment on their shorts containing links, so I guess that works. But again, they are now disabling those in comments on shorts too. And that's what I don't understand, is that they already removed any extra information from the description. So this was not a change that is new. And doing it from the comments just means that anyone like doing anything legit is kind of screwed. And yeah, I agree. If you are doing shorts, like, you should restrict comments or the top comments to the pinned comment from the creator. And if creators are pinning comments and putting spam or scam links in their descriptions, those creators need to be banned. Those videos need to be removed. Getting rid of the ability to link entirely removes the ability for them to detect who is breaking the rules here. That's what I don't understand. Enforce the rules. Remove these channels. Delete the videos. Ban these people. What's hard about that? Especially when you have the ability to just detect certain links. And so, as I was getting to a few minutes ago, this will lead to a bunch of people doing the same thing, but saying, hey, link in bio, which everyone is kind of used to with Instagram and TikTok. I can't imagine, realistically, that has a whole lot of conversion rate. Like, I have to imagine that's too much friction to really be lucrative for brands or whatever. But there are people who are going to go to that. And it's a lot harder for YouTube to then filter people who are putting those malicious links in their channel bio rather than in the description or comments. In the description or comments, they already have a ton of systems in place for that, and you can report the video. You can report the video as having malicious links in the description. It is a lot harder to report a channel that way, and it's way too many steps on mobile for anyone to actually do this. And so what they're doing is they are covering the problem up with dirt, pretending it doesn't exist, I guess, and not doing anything about the people who are actually doing the bad thing, while hurting the people who would use it for good things, and then making it harder to detect the bad thing moving forward. And again, we're being told it's justifiable because creators have been able to work on those platforms for years, even though every single creator on those platforms and most viewers who want to check out links from those creators are going to tell you it freaking sucks. I don't get it. I really don't. And I hate this move to having everything be and have spam if you don't track stuff. Exactly. Like, I really dislike the move to everything being focused on mobile and these kinds of things, because it takes away control from the users and the creators in a way that kind of hurts everybody. And to me, saying, hey, we're getting rid of a feature because it's used poorly, even though it's used legitimately by basically everyone else, instead of banning the bad actors, I think we're reaching yet another point, and this has happened quite a few times in YouTube's history. I've been around for a very long time. I think we're reaching another point where YouTube is overwhelmed logistically. They opened the floodgates with shorts. This became the most accessible video format that has hit the platform, where anyone can just quickly upload 60 seconds or whatever, and they have not enough capacity to filter, moderate, and curate it. And you can see that evident in the shorts feed, where it will show you the short shelf is like slightly relevant videos based on what you watch, but you scroll more than one or two shorts in, and it's not relevant at all. Down to these kinds of policies. I think they are doing a great job trying to give us features that make shorts usable with regards to the thing they led this with, which was linking out to your longer videos and things like that. The way that they are trying to implement like live stream clips in with shorts and back to the VODs and stuff, they're still missing the mark a little bit, and I think Twitch is making up some of that ground recently with their clips updates. But I think they're thinking along the right path with those kinds of features. But this kind of stuff just tells me like their support, their spam detector people, whatever, are just so overwhelmed logistically by the shorts format that they just cannot keep up with it. I don't know what the fix is, because they keep running into these issues, but I feel like the fix is not to take away useful features from existing users, which is what they frequently always do. So, yeah. Thank you for the tier 1 sub, not your parents, GNS. Happy Friday. Streamer News is back. The fix is to burn YouTube to the ground. No, that's the same thinking that YouTube is implementing now. Why fix the problem when you could just destroy everything? That's not the fix to anything. If YouTube got burned to the ground, we would all be missing out on tons of content. The corporate cable companies and stuff would win a lot better. And for independent content, we would be stuck with Twitch, which is miserable. But no, that's definitely not the answer. Thank you for the Prime sub, Cujo. 26 months, 24 months for Not Your Parents GNS. Appreciate y'all. But yeah, that's my piece on the title topic. Yeah, the answer is to hire more moderation staff and to improve their systems. Like, I don't understand how YouTube has so many issues with moderation when it's seemingly so easy to moderate things with automated tools. Like, not even, it doesn't even have to be AI and machine learning, blah, blah, blah jargon, buzzwords. It just needs to be automation. Like, why did they not just have an automated filter system for WhatsApp and Telegram and names that are similar to the creators being used in the comments and giveaway and the giveaway emojis and those kinds of things? And now why don't they have it for crypto or to automatically detect when a channel renames itself to Tesla? These are automated things that don't even require AI, but it has been shown that the AI required to do it could be run on like a GTX 1060 if they wanted to do it that way. Why do they not have these systems? Yeah, Theo Joe's comment detector thing. Like, why do they not have these systems in place? Why are they so bottlenecked in this regard for basic detection? Detecting spam links in the comments has to be one of the easiest things they could automate ever because Google does it. They do it system-wide across the entire freaking internet. So why is it so hard in comments? Is it tech debt? Is the way they store comments and descriptions, like in databases or whatever, just too obscure or outdated for them to really sort through it with newer systems? Like, what is it? Because it doesn't make sense to me. It seems like one of the easier things because it's all plain text. It's not passwords. It's not, I don't understand it. And especially because there's no downside to trying to automate it. And they've done it before. Like, okay, here's my thing though. Like, they can automatically detect with tons of accuracy and some inaccuracy when you use even like a split second of a video clip from a movie or a song from the radio, or if the song from the radio plays in the background as you walk by with your phone recording. They can detect that complex level of stuff automatically, but they can't detect repeat spam links or phrases like follow me on WhatsApp for free giveaways or free PS5s on Telegram. And there's no downside to filtering those things because once they know that it's there, they can just mass filter it and, again, ban the people doing this. Don't just get rid of the feature. Ban those people. And if a couple people get, swept up in false positives, it will suck in the short term, but they can easily resolve that. And the net gain would be significantly better. And like, yes, there are ways to work around spam detection, but the ways that work around it also add more friction and roadblocks to the people that would fall for it. Because if you have to like delete the spaces and the brackets and whatever in a URL in order to go to a spam URL when you're already on mobile and that's too complicated anyway, a lot less people are going to end up on those links. So any amount of progress towards filtering those is a massive win. And I do not understand how it's such a problem. I also just noticed, thank you for the Prime sub, AJ Core TV. Hype train is close. Catching up on a couple chat messages now that I'm coming down from my rant. Assuming they use their own Google Cloud stuff, the work required to automate this is apparently too much to do internally and would cost a lot to run this automation. Just reading a database costs money. When you have trillions of comments and billions of videos, it'll be so costly. If that's true, that is insane. Because doing it locally is free. Like, if that is true, then it is tech debt. It is like They just have things so broken from how old the system is or something. Like, that's insane. Like, it should literally just be scanning a database or an Excel file or something like that. It should not cost anything for anyone. And again, this is done at scale across the rest of the entire internet. And they do have the ability to detect it because there were waves. If those of you who are around a long time on YouTube remember, there were waves of creators getting caught up in things like using AdFly or Bitly links, and those getting flags for spam, either big AdFly ones for monetization hijacking reasons, and Bitly just because they were frequently used for spams. And if you use certain URL shorteners after they get detected as leading to bad places enough times, your videos will get in trouble for using those URL shorteners. So they already have some means of detecting this. It's there. And you have channel-wide filtration of comments where you can block words like Telegram or giveaway or whatever. So setting that up like platform-wide or by like having a set of default spam filters for everyone just enabled automatically, that seems like a win. And the feature's already built into the website. I know there's answers and there's justification and there's cost for it. But that means that things are just built that broken. Like, it's rough. I just noticed as I was ranting, I didn't actually notice this in the screenshot before. They are going to, they're retiring banner links as well as of today. I did not know this. As of today, yesterday, they just banned banner links on channels. Yeah, there's no more links over top your banner. That's been a thing for a decade now in different forms. And now you have this weird links section here where it says like nebula.tv/EposVox, which is cool because you can't rename the link to be something like misleading. And it says in 7 more links and then moves it down here. And I like that it discloses what the links are instead of just using the alias text. So like this is a win in terms of transparency. But I'm not sure this little section is better than having it on the banner. It says, we're introducing a new way to showcase your important links on your channel page. The new way will be visible on August 23rd. So banner links are gone for now. We have this temporary weird thing. And if you go to customize channel, which I'll flip to real quick, it apparently, the new version will roll out on the 23rd. There's nothing new here. Your links are now displayed on your channel profile and about page. This makes it easier for people to find your links. Links will no longer be displayed on your banner. This does not make it easier. Going to the about page is not easier than having it on the channel page in the first place. But otherwise, like, this is fine. There's no new system here. Like, these are the... Oh, they've increased the amount to 14. That's actually kind of cool. So previously, you could only do like 5 or 7 or something. And you could only display the first 4 or 5 on your banner. But now you can go all the way up to 14. So that is an improvement. Like, there's a little give with the take, as is always the case with changes. But like, I guess it takes a while to update the order. Yeah, that definitely just changed that. So there's more changes involved there, which will, again, I will say if they are tweaking the links on the channel page overall, it is possible that they will be looking at that with more scrutiny. So my whole point about everyone can just say link in bio and whatever, like maybe they're working against that. But I get the feeling that this is just to make more transparency for the links that you do have. And people who are going to click on a spam link anyway, we're never going to care what the URL said. Okay, now it says eposvox.com and 7 more links, whatever. All right. Fail Launch Finch says, hey, this is literally my first time ever watching a live stream other than WAN show. Well, thank you for tuning in. That's wild. As someone who mostly makes videos about live streams, it's kind of amusing. But yeah, that's my YouTube rant. That took up half the stream. I didn't mean for it to, but I don't like this change. I don't like the arguments behind the change. And I don't like the way they're responding to people who are complaining about the change. But there are some good features coming with it. So like overall, this is going to affect very few people. But not very few. Let me rephrase that. This is going to affect a smaller percentage of people with regards to shorts, because so many people, especially people who don't normally do videos, are doing shorts, that it's kind of disproportionate, you know? Like career content creators, full-time content creators are the ones that will rely on those links for sponsorships and for outside promotion and whatever. Whereas the randos uploading their TikTok dances and their random school vlogs don't care. And that disproportionately represents why that matters. And that is YouTube's and Google's constant problem, is they will remove features or tools or whatever due to lack of use after they obscure or otherwise skew the data as to who is using them and justify it based on the data. And so we're seeing a very similar thing here. All right, moving on to the next topic. A cybersecurity blog based on an anonymous research group has revealed that Kick.com, the notorious gambling streaming site that's trying to compete with Twitch, has some pretty significant, very obvious, I will say, vulnerabilities, including the ability to create a pinned message pretending to be any user, even verified other partners. Now, you have to be a moderator on a channel, but it's pretty easy to social engineer your way to moderating someone else's Twitch channel for chat. And by doing so, you do have the ability to fake a message that is pinned in chat to pretend to be someone else, even a verified user. That is like the first big one. Then they have some other stuff which gets a little more technical with regards to cross-site scripting and some other AWS-related vulnerabilities. On August 3rd, they claimed that they released a fix for it, and it turned out the fix that they did was not a fix at all, but rather was that they just made it so that every time you refresh the stream, the pinned message goes away. But whoever is actively just watching, the pinned message could be there, which ironically, given what we were just talking about with YouTube, is a big issue for spam and scam links to be pinned, or messages of, pretending to be someone else pinned to people's chats and misleading people. Overall, there could be worse vulnerabilities overall, and there's probably more. Like I remember at one point in time on Twitch, people were getting doxxed because you could somehow, through the way the streams were relayed, you could pull people's IP addresses from the streams, and supposedly they were using that to get people's other information. Revealing your IP address is not as dangerous as people make it out to be, but like that was a thing. That has not been a thing for a very long time, but it was a thing at one point in time. And Kick is a new service or whatever, but the cybersecurity research group that looked into this and tried to get it fixed and whatever, are even claiming that a small startup could do better than this. Like that basically no effort was put in. So just a laundry list of things that is wrong with this website, just to inform you, along with everything else I've always talked about. But the kitten chasing the cursor is impossible not to look at. I know, it's adorable. I love it. One of those classic web features that I think everyone still needs to utilize. It's so cute. But yeah, just wanted to throw it at you. Just additional information to inform your decision. And some more positive news. You will soon be able to stream to Discord from your Xbox consoles, which is freaking awesome. I have been a long-time advocate that streaming on Discord is one of the best ways to stream, especially for all of you who watch my tips videos, my growth tips videos and whatever, and are just like, man, I just want to stream and play games, have fun, and make some friends. And I'm like, well, that's cool. So stop watching videos about growth because you're just working against yourself here. And they're like, but I want big viewers. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. If you just want to stream to make friends, go join some Discord servers. You can stream in super low latency there, so you can basically have couch co-op, make some awesome friends, They have a lot of cool features, watch parties and all that. I think Discord is a great way to stream. And now you're going to be able to do that from the Xbox while chatting in voice chat, which is pretty freaking sick. You can do it even, I think you need the Xbox Series X or S console to do it, but you can do it with any Xbox Series or Xbox One game. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to work with backwards compatibility Xbox 360 or original Xbox games, but we'll see if that comes in time. I don't know if it specifies which console you need. Yeah, it doesn't actually say. I would imagine you need the newer consoles, but you may not. Because they're all getting similar updates. But I would assume you need the newer consoles. But this is really cool. Like, I think for, you know, getting back to the olden, like some of Xbox's greatest branding was with regards to Xbox Live and the community aspect and people just hanging out in their Xbox party chat all day while they were doing other things and then gaming up at certain times or whatever. And this helps kind of bring people back to that. It's not all natively through, you know, Xbox anymore, but it doesn't need to be. Like, utilizing a third-party service that does it better already helps keep people involved and helps support the whole Xbox PC cross-compatibility thing that they've been pushing for. And I think this is freaking sick. Successor one, it says that for games. I don't think I see it for console. But it might work on the Xbox One. Is there a good way to send your OBS output to Discord? Yes, I do have it covered in my course over at eposvox.gg/course. I will be making a public video on it at some point, but basically virtual camera, and then you have to use a virtual audio device of some sort to relay it to Discord as a microphone. Because OBS doesn't have a virtual microphone device. But it's fairly straightforward once you know what to do. Like I said, I have it covered in my course, eposvox.gg/course launch. I will have a video on it at some point. Maybe to go along with this, the ultimate Discord streaming guide or something. Very cool for community. I was expecting this when the whole Microsoft and Discord thing was happening. Yeah. It's weird because they first partnered with PlayStation and now Xbox is the one getting all the features. Like, I don't know why they're not making this happen with PlayStation, but whatever. Moving on to the next topic. Microsoft is also abandoning their Xbox console companion app. And you could use this. They've really dialed back a lot of their Windows gaming features. I think they've just accepted that everyone else is using other features, like OBS or whatever. Because previously with the Xbox Game Bar and things like that, you could stream from there and record clips from there and do all this other stuff. And they've kind of dialed a lot of that back in favor of integrations with third-party stuff. And now they have gotten rid of, as of back when I was at LTX, the entire Xbox app for Windows. That, you know, they had a separate Xbox app which was to accompany your console, and then they had an app that was for like the Xbox games that you'd run on your computer and stuff. So the one that a companion for your console is gone, and that was the only first-party way left to download your Xbox DVR clips. So if you record clips on your Xbox, that was the only way to download those on the computer. It's not like the PlayStation where you pop in a flash drive or whatever. Like, they just didn't have that option. And there are third-party options, some that people have quoted in the replies. So Xbox Clips, Xbox DVR, Xbox Replay. I can't verify the legitimacy or safety of any of these, but there is no first-party way, which is super weird. I think even my cat was told to turn this off to get better performance for the game bar. Yeah. I mean, that was the problem with it. The newer one is a lot better. It has a lot more integrations and features and stuff. It's pretty sick. It's kind of like the new Steam overlay upgrade. Like, it has a lot of features. All right, next topic. I want to talk about briefly. AVerMedia has pre-orders for the first wave of HDMI 2.1 capture cards coming soon. They are releasing preview or pre-orders soon. Weirdly, they're releasing pre-orders in like to their Discord members first. This whole weird community initiative thing, and they haven't even released full specs yet. Although they have announced that all of those will be released on pre-order day. As I have always said, you know, wait for reviews before you pre-order a product. As we have heard from the specs so far, none of the current wave of HDMI 2.1 capture cards support 1440p 240. That doesn't mean they won't, but the specs that all of the companies have announced so far have just said 1440p 144 hertz for HDMI 2.1 support, which is weird and kind of confusing. But we don't know yet. I will say, unless you want to be a bleeding edge tester and might not get what you want, wait for reviews to pre-order. I do know one is on the way. AVerMedia, I've been in contact with them. They are sending me one, so there's no issues there. Just be a smart consumer and wait, because if you're, a lot of people have been kind of, how do I want to say this? Being very optimistic about what they could get out of HDMI 2.1 capture cards, and very hopeful for some pretty advanced features that I don't think are coming to this first wave, which is disappointing given that it is 3 years into HDMI 2.1 as a standard everywhere. So, but just be mindful of it. Sorry. Waste the RGB. I mean, it doesn't really cost anything, so not really a waste. Did you see Amit Yuran from Tenable former CERT call out Microsoft on LinkedIn as culture of toxic obfuscation? Microsoft products have accounted for an aggregate 42.5% of all 0 days since 2014. I've not. Yikes. That's all I got to say to that. I'm not a cybersecurity guy. What I am a guy of is preservation. And CNET seems set on not preserving anything, from their jobs that they have laid off for AI articles that have been terrible, to they are now just deleting thousands upon thousands of old articles trying to game Google search, which they claim they are not doing, and yet have also said that this is a industry-wide best practice for sites that are driven by SEO. I don't believe that is the case. Most news and editorial outlets are not doing this. Like, this isn't really a thing. And yet they are deleting tons of old articles, which removes that information from the internet. It hurts preservation of people who want to reference these things. And arguably it hurts CNET's SEO, because if they look for something and CNET doesn't come up anymore, then that's a loss. One of the big things that really hurts me in this regard is CNET used to be the only place you could get old CRT TV and monitor manuals. For whatever reason, CNET just had a massive host of these. And I even, in my earlier CRT videos in like 2017 and 2018, I talked about how you could usually search there and get some very valuable information about your TVs and monitors that really didn't exist anywhere else on the internet. And sometime around like 2019 through current year, they just went and deleted all of those. And that is a massive loss, like preservation wise, for information, for helpful info, for internet users, for preserving this older technology. They just nuked it. And now they're doing that to like their whole site. And again, this is after they just laid off a ton of writers and switched to trying to do AI written articles and whatever. It's really crappy. Now, it does say that for some of those, they are at least maintaining their own copy, which is good overall, but not having it available is kind of stupid. But it says that they also try to send people to the Wayback Machine for it. It's okay for you as a user or someone writing for a website that wants to look up a piece of information and that information is deleted to then use Wayback Machine as a reference source in your post, in your article, whatever, because you can no longer link people that thing. I don't believe, and maybe this isn't the Internet Archive's policy, but I personally don't believe it is okay or right to be the publication that owns, created, and hosted that information to offload that traffic to the Internet Archive. Because what that is doing is not only breaking all the links and causing all sorts of problems, but it's also passing the burden of hosting traffic management and like maintaining links to this third party that they are not, presumably, are not being like supplemented for. Like, they're not paying the Internet Archive for the extra traffic or whatever. Like, that feels like a policy violation. And then Internet Archive is put in this really awkward situation where they don't want to take everything down or whatever, because that defeats the purpose of why they exist. But also, like, how do they prevent this from happening? Like, it's super weird. I don't know how you justify this. Yeah, if they're not financially contributing to IA, this feels like just stealing from them. Like, oh, it's your job to host our website, and we're going to link to it in place of hosting our website. It's super weird. Super, super weird. HDMI input should be built into the next generation of graphics cards and CPU motherboards, along with sync genlock functionality. Well, genlock definitely isn't going to happen. Building it into motherboards isn't going to happen. That is way too niche of a feature and would be way too confusing to users who already have trouble not plugging their HDMI into their motherboard port when that's disabled instead of their graphics card or whatever. I would love to see graphics cards with bidirectional HDMI ports or some sort of breakout in that regard. That would be amazing for capture and streaming, and imagine like a selling point if you're like, yeah, my NVIDIA card can talk to my other NVIDIA card just over USB or over HDMI or something without lag or anything. But I have pushed for that for a long time, and I do not see it happening. I've pushed for that for years now, like directly to those companies. And while I'm not gonna, I guess, leak verbatim what I was told, as far as I could tell, it's not happening. The all-in-wonder era is gone. You could easily have an onboard capture card and content creators specific boards like the live mixer ones. I mean, theoretically, fitting it somewhere would be difficult. And yeah, like specialized ones, sure, but those are a rarity and they're usually super extra expensive because they're just a low, you know, they're not mass produced like the other ones. So I'm not sure spinning up a whole SKU for that is worth it. Yeah, like what does the chip on a Can't Link cost? Sure, but that's the problem, is you're only going to end up with a really crappy capture card that you have no way of upgrading without just buying another one. Like, I wouldn't want a built-in capture card that is made to be as cheap as possible to fit it on a motherboard, because then it would be a crappy capture card. Like, modularity is very good for technology. Hope things are well for you. Hopefully OBS classes do well for you. Enjoyed the last couple YouTube videos. Well, thank you, a rabid buffalo. All right, next topic. So this is a Twitter post from a local meteorologist of mine, but it's one I've seen echoed a few times, and I want to highlight the fact that among the million other things that we don't really have to dive into here, that Twitter has screwed up over the past year, due to the way they have broken and ruined their API, it seems like most TV stations can no longer use Twitter to push any weather warnings, flood warnings, tornado warnings, nothing. And that is pretty dangerous and irresponsible and just kind of insane. Now, I think it's kind of insane that so many platforms, weather, schools, whatever, have become so dependent on social media to distribute their alerts and notifications. Like, I think that's a really bad thing. My bandwidth is dropping again. We're dropping some frames. Okay, I think it's stabilized. I think it's insane that we ever reached a point where, like, this has ever become a problem. Like, everyone should have always had their independent things, just like everyone should have always had their own independent hosting of their content in the first place, so that when something like Reddit went down, it didn't mean we lost all this information or whatever. But we are in this position, and children like Elon Musk completely miss the consequences when they make these rash decisions, and it's really dangerous to society. And I think it should teach a very important lesson about not depending on third-party platforms for this kind of thing. But I also think it's kind of crazy that websites are happy to just take down half the internet over ridiculous changes. Like, And we ran into a similar thing, and I'm not going to release too much personal information, but we were talking with a local school, and we wanted to sign up for weather alerts for the school, so we knew when the school would close. And the only suggestion they had for us was to check their Facebook page. That is not acceptable. The school should have, or the district should have, its own notification system that runs out through text, email, whatever, not Facebook. And so much has been set up like this. It's just, this is how the internet has failed in the past 15 years. And I really hope, as we continue to see lesson after lesson after lesson about it, that we reach a point where we just go back to independent websites, to independent communities, websites, more diverse hosting. Like you see a lot of people preach the whole Web3 bullcrap, or, you know, decentralization, this or that. The core principles of decentralization are very important. And that is spreading things out so that when one website gets bought up by a man-child and ruins everything, or one website decides they want to price out every third-party tool that supports their website in existence, we don't lose half the freaking internet. Like, things were so much better, and I hate being this old person saying it, but things were genuinely better back in the late 90s, early 2000s, even the early 2010s, when everything was on individual community websites. And you think about, like, there were so many, like, if you haven't looked into it before, look into all of the video production and marketing companies that basically shut down because Facebook lied to them about their video performance. And once they stopped lying about the numbers and de-inflated them, like regressed them back to the real numbers, and all the advertising budgets and whatever adjusted accordingly, they all, like, so many went under. And it's because they all went from publishing their own videos on their own websites and just like syndicating to these other platforms to chasing gold, posting dedicated on these websites. And then the websites rug pull them and they just completely shut down. Whereas they would have been fine. And there's this, what's it called? Crap. It is, host and syndicate. God, what's the phrase called? Pesos from IndieWeb. So it is a philosophy of you post your own content on something that you have some amount of ownership for, and then you syndicate it elsewhere. Okay, this is the opposite of what I wanted. Okay, it's Posse, not Pesos. Pesos is the opposite. Posse is the new one. I'm going to paste it in the chats here. Thank you for the tier 1 sub, a rabid buffalo, and Dan for the channel memberships. You all rule. Speaking of independent web and supporting, if you want to continue to support my free tech education and my various resources and content that I provide, subbing on Discord, subbing on Twitch, joining channel memberships on YouTube is the best way to do it. And frankly, this summer, I need it more than ever. So I don't like asking for this stuff, but we're going to be doing a lot more streams for it. And I'm going to mention it a lot more. And I apologize in advance for it. So, Posse. Publish on your own site, syndicate elsewhere. Your content should be published somewhere that you own and then syndicated to social media and third-party sites, not owned by those websites. That is the only way the internet can be sustainable moving forward. Period. Or not the internet, the World Wide Web. And the undoing of this, because this is how the internet used to go. The web used to go. Was that, think about people like the Yahtzee Crenshaw. What's that platform he worked on? The Escapist. They used to post their videos on their own website and just upload the YouTube. And so many companies like that went from doing that to only posting on YouTube. And so many issues came from that. We need to go back to this. Thank you for the raid, Dread Captain James. Welcome to Streamer News. We're kind of at the tail end of the show, but I do have a few more topics to cover here. By the way, if you missed it, if you're just joining from the raid, our music service backing track got to partner with Evo 2023 for the Mortal Kombat track, and we had our own track, Open the Pit. If you missed that, you can check out the track itself at backingtrack.gg, or you can pre-order the whole Evo 2023 vinyl with the link in the description. It is an incredible album full of tons of just bangers for all the games at Evo. Freaking sick. Also have my own OBS course, eposvox.gg/course launch. You want to go pick that up for yourself. It is the ultimate guide to OBS Studio. It has 19 hours of content, 126 videos. It takes you from literally running OBS for the first time to doing super pro live streams better than I usually do on a regular basis. And a bunch of free resources. So go check that out as well. I got so excited about RSS. Yes, RSS is another technology we need to be leveraging more. Even Facebook supported RSS at one point. RSS, if you're not familiar with it, is the ability to basically just like pull all the updates from various websites and feeds and read them in a reader. So you could just read the content. And obviously that has some it has some negative implications with regards to monetizing on specific websites, like ad revenue, whatever. But RSS could work within a subscription model too, where you pay to get access to the feed. Like that could still work. I mean, there are paid access podcasts and mailing lists. Like it absolutely could work. And it was such an important technology and everyone got away from it. But if you wonder why that would matter and why it's not just old man yells at cloud, think about what happened when Twitter broke embeds. When you had to be signed into Twitter in order to see tweets and threads and everything like that. Anyone, any company, person, political entity, whatever, making their announcements or their news alerts or whatever through Twitter became completely inaccessible right away to anyone who wasn't logged into Twitter. And that is a huge deal. Meanwhile, if you just go to, if things are published on their website first with the whole, the posse thing I was just talking about, and you use something like a news reader, RSS reader, then you can still pull all that information without relying on a social media platform. Like everyone talks about how Twitter is this ultimate platform for news. RSS readers were that first. And everyone's trying to supplement that with their like over-controlled news readers like Facebook and whatever, trying to be your Apple News. Those are all really not good when in comparison to just getting the information from the source kind of collated in your own reader. Rooster Teeth has a premium RSS feed for first members access podcasts a day early and ad-free. 100% usable. That's amazing. Everyone needs to do that. This is my only question with an RSS feed is how do you revoke access to someone who unsubscribes? I mean, it's probably set up with a token, a key, a login or something. Like, I'm pretty sure that's all it takes. Thoughts on paying for Feedly? I don't mind paying for a specific RSS tool. I will say Feedly specifically, they did a lot of bad stuff this past year, I'm pretty sure, with regards to like facial recognition and profiling and stuff. Like there was this whole weird thing. And so I just immediately dropped them. You can host your own for free. There are free options. But the prospect of paying for like a really good reader service, I'm not against at all. But yeah, I mean, it'd be the same thing as losing access to a Patreon feed or whatever. Like there's just some sort of authentication involved. Moving on to other news as we plow through our topics here. PixelFX, the company that is basically like a unification of quite a few kind of upscaler modders and, HDMI modders, have formed an alliance and they have announced their Morph 4K upscaler. I'm going to address this with a little bit of caution as there have been a ton of drama surrounding this. Not the product itself. The product itself looks great. We have not seen any images from it, whereas the RetroTink 4K, we've seen constant updates from people who have been playing with it and whatever. But basically, it's like the ultimate 4K upscaler for your game consoles. It has analog inputs with this analog breakout box. It has HDMI inputs if you're using HDMI scalers from other stuff. Like it does a lot of cool stuff. Does 444 4K 60 upscaling. Supports HDR, black frame insertion, variable refresh rate. All these things that we're now adapting to get better retro gaming support. It has Wi-Fi updates, web UI control, micro SD firmware updates, whatever. And they're selling it with the analog box separately. This is cool. The team itself is set on just like setting their entire, PR perception on fire, as they've just been like dunking on Mike Chi, who creates the RetroTink products, just completely needlessly, which is kind of insane. So Toasty Bros with the raid. What up, Toasty Bros squad? Nice raid. Thank you. Much appreciated. Welcome to Streamer News, everybody. We're just talking about recent tech and streaming news. Talking about the new Morph 4K. It's morphin' time. 4K upscaler for consoles. Again, this is probably going to be really good. I can't really speculate as to which will be better between this and the RetroTink 4K yet. I will be testing both and letting you know and whatever, but there is a lot of really bad drama on the side of the PixelFX team that is really disappointing to see. And it's all completely unnecessary. Like, they've just been taking swings at Mike this whole time. Mike being a one-man operation. Like, him and his wife spent their entire life savings to have the FPGAs to have RetroTink 5Xs in stock. All this stuff. Like, I don't like that a big company, and they're not a big company, but, you know, a company that's a group of multiple people and has a lot more backing is punching down at a one-man operation. So I don't like that at all. But both of the products are pretty sick and coming soon. There are a lot more images on the Twitterverse of people who have been playing with the RetroTink 4K. So we actually know what that one looks like, whereas we don't for the PixelFX yet. And actually, Bob from Retro RGB just did a stream today. It wasn't live when I checked on it, but he did a stream today showcasing the features of the RetroTink 4K. So if you want more information about that, go to Retro RGB. He has a lot of demos. It's a 1080p stream, but has, you know, lots of demos of the features, all the menus, what the results look like, and stuff like that. So pretty cool. I don't know what this "it was supposed to be at 5" message is supposed to mean, but okay. In your RIP GoXLR video, you didn't look at the Roland option. Yeah, if I can get my hands on it, I absolutely will review it. I did just get the Mackie one in, the DLZ or whatever. I haven't heard a lot about that one, so I'm excited to take a look at that. But yeah, I'm hoping to get the Roland one in hand, the BrigeCast, I think it's called. But we'll see. These things are expensive, and I think honestly most of them are completely overkill for the majority of streamers, so it's kind of awkward. Like the real loss with GoXLR losing support and stuff like that is the GoXLR Mini. That one was cheaper than most good audio interfaces once it dropped in price, and was really cool and was a lot more confined to what most streamers need. Whereas the GoXLR itself was kind of overkill, and then all of these alternatives are like even more overkill and even more expensive. And it's kind of awkward to like talk about and recommend, because I don't think the vast majority of streamers like really need a $700, $800 mixer. Like, you just don't. So there's a lot of cool features. Don't get me wrong. I'm supposed to be getting the Rodecaster Duo soon. I don't know when it's coming. I've asked for it a while back, but I'm supposed to be getting that soon. And that has the ability to sync up with the newer Rode Wireless Go kits, which seems amazing because that's kind of what I want. So like, I've been working on a video where I'm doing this with a separate wireless lav kit. That way you can just seamlessly be like, all right, I'm at the desk, I have the good mic, and I'm getting up over here, stuff over here, you know, be able to get up and do stuff and still be heard is a really cool feature. So there's a lot of stuff like that. So they're not without their good features. It's just very expensive. Mike Chi is a blessing. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right, let's plow through these last couple topics here. Twitch has updated chat replies so that only the person you directly replied to will show up in the thing, so that you don't keep tagging people needlessly. This is great. Don't really need to talk about it more, but I feel like we're at the point where I need to like we need to call out whenever Twitch actually does do good updates and make new feature changes, because they do it so infrequently that we need to encourage them or something. But yeah, I don't know. Windows 11 is getting even more mixed refresh rate support. This is actually really cool. So if you are unaware, if you're someone who's been holding out against Windows 11 or whatever, its multi-monitor support is one of the big selling points. Like auto HDR the multi-monitor like support, where it remembers where your monitors are and where your windows are, even if you unplug a monitor and then plug it back in, and better support for mixed refresh rates were some of the biggest selling points for me to upgrade to Windows 11 day one, and it has been a lot better than Windows 10 in that regard. However, it is apparently getting even more updates for specifically adapting like more dynamically to multitasking with mixed refresh rates. So Windows's DWM, the desktop window manager, has had a history of issues with regards to like if you're doing something of a certain load on, say, a 60 hertz side monitor, but your main monitor is 240 hertz. There have been issues with like tanking the first monitor's performance to keep up with the second one, and weird stuff like that. And Windows 11 was already an improvement on that, and now they're getting an update soon that will improve that further. They have some better logic with regards to multitasking in that regard. I don't know when exactly it's coming. It's already in the Canary channel builds, but they have tons of features that roll out to the Insider builds that still have not. Like I've had on my one machine with Insider build, I've had tabs in Explorer and stuff for I think almost a year now, and it's still not in the rest of my machines with Windows 11. Like there's so much weird stuff that they put in Insider and then never like disseminated to everyone else. So I'm very excited that they're updating, upgrading these features and working on it. And specifically, they're quoting that graphics cards with 0 RPM fan modes will be able to maintain that easier, as apparently multiple high refresh rate displays like communicated to the graphics card that it needed to work more or something. But it's cool. I'd love a link to a vid that would help me have 2 cameras without lag or latency. I have a Canon T9 with a Cam Connect and iPhone 11 hardwired with camo. I can't get them in sync in real time. Well, those are 2 completely different devices with completely different rates of like latency and stuff going into your computer. So there's not going to be a one size kind of fits all answer there. You're going to have to basically just like add delays to whichever one is the slower one, or whichever one is the faster one, to match the slower one and sync it up. There's not going to be, there's no setting that will make them not have lag or latency. That's inherent to the wireless, the Cam Connect app thing you're using, and to iPhone's video output. Like there's no easy answer for that. I will say that. What's up, Hammer Brother? Your videos have been so helpful over the past 2 years when getting started with streaming. Thank you. I found even with 2 webcams of the exact same model, they have rarely been in full sync with each other. Yeah, that's just the nature of USB video. Like there's, without Genlock and SDI sources and stuff, like the reality is you don't keep them completely in sync, just kind of period. vMix does a better job at it. It gives you more features for syncing up, but are you considering doing another Linux challenge? Maybe this time use Fedora and an AMD GPU. Arch distros that you used last time aren't ideal and have a tendency to nut themselves. Well, see, the funny thing is, it's for the, I think more than 20 years I've been using Linux now. At least the past 10 or 15 years, whenever distros became more of like a hot topic, everyone says that every other base distro is not ideal and shouldn't be used. So I mean no disrespect to you specifically when I say that I can never take anyone's thoughts on whether a distro or the flavor is ideal for a certain situation, because literally every other person will say something different. Now, Fedora is awesome, and I have a lot of interest in their immutable file system stuff, especially having seen how it runs on the Steam Deck with immutable mode. But I know how things run on Linux. I know what isn't supported on Linux from my workflow. There's no real point to doing a challenge just to come back around and tell you, yeah, it's Linux. It still has the same hangups it did 5 years ago. It still doesn't support half of my workflow, and I'm still only going to use it for laptops and servers. All that's going to do is get a lot more Linux zealots pissed at me again and not really help anyone. All right, a couple spicy final topics. Red Dead Redemption and the Undead Nightmare expansion is getting ported to PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. And people are super upset about this. Now, I think the only bad thing about this is the price. It's still like basically a full, well, $50 game. Almost a full price game. I think for 30-ish bucks, that would be fine. I have always been a very strong advocate for just porting your games and making them available on all systems. You don't gotta do big remakes and remasters and spending all of the money remaking a game when the only important aspect is just making it available for future gamers. Just keep making your games available and people will buy them. As we have seen when the older 15-year-old Call of Duty games shot to the top of Xbox sales charts when the servers became available. People don't care that they're old. They're still buying them and shooting them to the tops of sales charts. Hello, words. Been going on stream for a while. And so everyone that's mad that this isn't a remaster or a remake or whatever, especially again when it was mainly done for the Switch, I think that's kind of dumb. Like, I think a port is just fine. I think it should be cheaper at this point because the game is so old, but I don't think there's any problem with just porting the game. I do think it's kind of ridiculous that they are now doing this port and still have no acknowledged plans for PC support. I think that's kind of insane. But I see no point to constantly remastering and remaking games all the time. Thank you for the super chat, Marine X. Picture looks icy. What is this cam, and do you recommend the filter for the RE20? So this is the Elgato Facecam Pro, actually. I set those up in the retro gaming corner mainly because I was out of mirrorless cameras because I kept having to sell them all to pay bills. And it's a 4K 60 FPS. I'm going to mainly stream 60 FPS stuff here for gaming. And so I was checking it out, and it will be extra compatible with that Elgato teleprompter soon. So I was just set it up. It's what I had. I don't like the lack of depth of field or shallow depth of field that it has. And the autofocus pulses a ton when you're close up on it. But when I'm further away like this, it's less of a problem because like everything's in focus. And yeah, this is the Broadcast Supply World BSW Repop pop filter for the RE20. It is pretty great. Like, it's expensive, but like I would never use a generic pop filter again. People who don't know about the Elgato teleprompter, I have my own website because I post on my stuff first and syndicate elsewhere. Wink, wink, circling back to our topics. I have a post for that on my Stream Guides website. I will post it in the chats. Boop. And boop. Yes, like I said, I do understand the frustration of not having a PC port, but I saw a lot of people specifically mad that it wasn't a remaster or remake, and I think that's just kind of silly. All right, I think that's all we got to cover for today. Going on a while, my voice is kind of throwing. I've not streamed in a while, so we're getting back into it. Streams are coming back. Streamer news is coming back. I just smashed my knuckle. Yeah. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I have no idea how these things are performing at the moment since I've been live, but I greatly appreciate it. I miss streaming. I miss you all. I want to do a lot more of this. Thank you to Dread Captain James and the Toasty Bros for the raids. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And remember to be kind. Rewind. I don't think I actually have a scene for the stream ending at the moment, so I'll just say, see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya, I guess. That's mean. We didn't do anything wrong. Backintrack.gg, EposVox.gg/course launch. Go buy my course. Go check out our music. And have a great weekend. Hackingtrack.gg. Boop and boop. I will be doing some game streams soon as well. And yeah. Bye.